Hi, everybody. This is Nish here again from The Abundant Life, and I'm speaking to this wonderful lady, Waleuska Lazo from Toronto. And she's an author of 3 books, and she's written a masterpiece now called The Gratefulness Effect. And she is a founder and a creator of this amazing workshop and a program called FMTG, which is 5 Minutes to Gratefulness. And I have been really grateful and thankful to her because I participated in this 4 times in succession. And there are thousands of people like me from all over the world who have been a part of this experiment. And they have really benefited like me. And she can share some experiences of some of the students who have been a part of this. And it has not only affected us with our personal life, with our relationship with ourselves, but also with our relationship with people around us. And Waleuska has been talking with us on conscious parenting, which is a very, very important issue. And today we are going to discuss that mothers play a very significant and important role in the growth of the child, because I think they spend a lot more time with the children than the fathers do, isn't it, Waleuska?
Absolutely.
So how do these mothers play? What kind of role do they do? How do they teach self-care and self-love to the children? And through themselves, through the way they behave. So, Waleuska, can you throw some light on this?
Thank you, Nish. Yes, I think it's very important to highlight the role that we mothers play in our children's lives, especially during their early development, because a lot of the issues that affect us as adults all stem from our childhood imprints, our childhood conditioning and limiting beliefs that we learned from our caregivers. A lot of my now adult students in the gratitude program that I teach say how, they have challenges with self-love, self-care, and, believing in themselves. And more importantly, they felt that when they were growing up, they didn't have a voice, that their voice, did not matter. And so they learned to take the back seat. And it's not something that they did not only do this with their parents, but they took that with their adult relationships. So I think it's extremely important to teach our children at a young age to use their voice, that their voice matters. It's important that they know that their opinion counts and that they have a responsibility to speak up and to never silence themselves.
So how do we do this, Waleuska, and how do we make sure that the kids have really their own voice and they are not echoes of what we have been speaking to them all the time?
Oh, wow. It's very simple. We have to stop being their voice. We have to stop fighting their every battle. And really, parents, take a step back and let your children use their voice. We can be there to advise them, to guide them, but ultimately they have to be the ones to advocate for themselves. And I have a quick story, because that one issue was so difficult for me. My oldest daughter, Victoria, suffered from selective mutism when she was very little, and till about age 6. So I had to be her voice. And then when my second daughter came along 5 years later, being her voice and her eyes and everything in between was the norm. So yeah, I fought their every battle and I advocated for them at every chance that I had. And I did this for so many years. And one day I asked myself, wait a minute, what are you doing? Victoria did not suffer from selective mutism at that point anymore. They weren't 2 or 4. They were capable young ladies. And what I was doing is I was preventing them from developing the skill to use their own beautiful voices. And I think that that's an example for us parents on how we sometimes do things without thinking. And we do them because we love our children. But even acts of love carry a consequence. And I was unaware at the time, but what I was doing is I was preventing them from developing their own self-efficacy and self-reliance. I was unconsciously transmitting to my girls that my voice carried more weight, that my voice mattered more, and that I didn't really believe that they could speak up for themselves. So I was doing them a disfavor in the long run.
But you want to act like the shield, isn't it? You want to just protect them all the time.
Yes, 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 exactly. And, that's something that we really need to look at, because what we often do for their immediate benefit can have the opposite effect long term.
So how do we as parents, we ensure that they have a healthy sense of their self-care, and we become good models for their self-care? So how do we do this actually?
The only way to do it is by us modeling what it's like to love ourselves, to be risk takers, to set healthy boundaries. We are the first line for them. They're constantly watching us, and they will eventually lead their lives to, similar to the way that we did ours, right? So they're using us as their moral compass, constantly watching not what we say, but what we do. So we need to embody all the qualities that we want to see in our children. And often that's not an easy task.
But I heard somewhere that they say that you give me a kid of up to 7 years and I'll tell you how he or she is going to become as an adult. So is there what is happening up to 7 years?
I think that, up until the age of 10, our children are still in a very programmable stage. Sorry, it's a hard word for me to say, but yeah, they're in a hypnotic state where, they're constantly absorbing and encoding in their minds new programs. So up until that point, we're able to reverse, whatever limiting beliefs our children have. And then after that, obviously it is still possible, but it's a little more difficult. And I think that's why it's so important to have these discussions to make parents aware of our unconscious behaviors on our children, so that we can correct them while we can. And the self-care is a huge area, because we want to make sure that we're raising children that will grow to love and care for themselves. And I can only speak for myself, because there was a lot of time in my life where I kind of stopped taking care of myself. I forgot that I mattered, and my whole life became consumed by my children's lives. And I forgot that I had other responsibilities. I forgot that I was a wife, a friend, a lover, and a business partner. And my entire life became defined by being a mom and nothing else. And don't get me wrong, I love my girls.
A lot of mothers all over the world are doing this, I'm sure. I know in India, lot of mothers are doing this,
And yeah, and that's something that we women do so easily, because we are biologically built to overprotect. But if the role is for us to raise young women who will be whole and complete, and who will grow to love and care for themselves, then I realized that I was teaching them the opposite.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was unconsciously showing them is that when we grow to be women, that it's okay to forget and to lose ourselves. So I think it's very important to look at your children and realize that, for me, in the case of my girls, I realized that these little girls were soon going to become adults and women and wives and mothers.
And
right?
they're going to do the same thing, right?
Yeah. And so I had an opportunity to really reverse all the things that I was sublimically teaching them, indirectly teaching them, and, to empower them with a new set of beliefs. And, it was not an easy task, but it's absolutely doable. And I thought that, you have to really think about what is the goal? What is it that you want your children to accomplish. And if the goal is to raise individuals that are risk takers and self-starters, I was teaching my girls the opposite, because for a very long time, as a mom, I stayed in the safety of my comfort zone, stayed in my little box. And for many years, I didn't try anything new. I didn't grow. And I forgot that I matter. And what I did is I used my busyness with them as a shield to not have to think about my unfulfilled checklist of dreams that I still needed to accomplish.
So you just mattered as a mom, right?
I was just a mom. And the message that we're sending our kids is wrong. We want to show our kids that we can fully be there for them, that we are committed to them, but also we have to model what it's like to be a full individual that has needs and wants and aspirations of you know, like that. I had those aspirations for myself, and I realized that I have a journey that is independent of their journey, and I have a responsibility to fulfill the journey so that my girls can grow up to feel whole and complete, and to follow their own journey without guilt. Because we women, for some reason, always feel guilty that, you know, if we go pursue a career and we're not there for our kids, right? It's like we're always torn and feeling this horrible guilt. And we don't want to do that, because that's what we're teaching our kids. And then they're going to teach them to their kids. You know, these little girls become wives one day, and they will become mothers one day. And so everything that we're doing, they will grow to also do that, and to pass that along to, you know, their future generations. So we want to make sure that, you know, we show them that we women can be
more than just mom.
We can be everything. You know, we can have a job, we can have a career, we can have our own aspirations, and yet we can, you know, also be great moms and be there for our children.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting, you know. And I don't know what fathers are doing in all this, but
well, you know, I think a lot of fathers, what they do is, again, out of love, you know, they go to work and they spend a great deal of time away from their children, because they want to be able to provide a good education. We always want to give our kids all the things that we didn't have, and that's good. But at the end of the day, every child, every adult will tell you that when they were little, they didn't care to go to the best schools, to have all the best toys. They wanted their parents. They wanted to spend time with them. So, you know, we sadly are in a society where we have a lot of absentee parents, you know, because they are at work long hours, and they're really not there for their kids to spend not quantity, but quality time with them. So yeah, I think it's important that we self-modeled for them what it's like to be a complete and full individual, and to see us take risk. If we want our kids to take risk and to become resourceful, then we need to model that for them first. You know, we need to be resourceful, and we need to be the ones to show them how you take risk, how you face your fears. I always tell my girls, there's 3 things that will happen when you step out of your comfort zone. You know, the first choice is that you can stay in your little box and not grow. Yeah. Or you could jump and maybe you will fall and scrape a knee. And the other one is you can fly, you can leap and fly. Right? But those are the only ways that we grow and evolve. So as parents, it's important that they see us try new experiences, that they see when we are fearful, but nevertheless, they see us jump into the void and try new things. And even me doing these videos with you, it's confronting my fear. It's really stepping out of my comfort zone. And my girls know that. They know how self-conscious I am. And they make fun of me when they watch our videos, they say, "Oh, Mom, you're so stiff, and you know, you don't have a lot of emotions," and they laugh, but they still see me try, right? They're seeing me. So I'm being an example of what it's like to face my fear and do it anyway.
You're doing a lovely job, I think, with it. People are loving it.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, we have to become aware of how our unconscious actions and behaviors can have a detrimental impact on our children when they grow up. It's not an easy task.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so I think what you're really trying to say is what they see is what they do, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. And you know, the most important gift that you can give your child is to teach them, to show them through example that you can be there for the people that you love in your life. You can prioritize them, but you also have to show them that you prioritize yourself. Yes. So that when they grow up, they can love and care for themselves without guilt, you know, and that we are important, that we matter in spite of the many roles that we women play in society.
So I think sometime we should do a session on people who go to work who think of themselves as guilty parents, you know?
Yes, because guilt is such a low vibrating emotion. You know, you don't really want to be doing things out of guilt.
So we should talk about it sometime.
Yes, we can definitely do that on our next episode.
Yeah, thank you so much, Waleuska, and it's really amazing talking to you. Any last words of wisdom that you want to tell us?
I think the underlying message of all these mini series that we're doing on unconscious parenting is that we have to be clear as to what our role is as a parent, and that you cannot expect your children to be anything other than what you are yourself.
Okay.
Because, you know, you're the one modeling for them all the things that you want to see in them. And I'd like to share a quote that I found recently. Such an interesting, I love this quote. It's from the Wall Street Journal in 2018, and the title is "How to Raise More Grateful Children." And they quote psychologist Dr. Richard Weisberg, and he's a director of Harvard Graduate School of Education. Okay. And he said, when parents organize their lives around their kids, those kids expect everyone else to do so as well, and that leads to entitlement. When children are raised to feel entitled to everything, they are left feeling grateful for nothing.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes, and I thought that was a very powerful quote that embodies, you know, what these episodes are about. It's, you know, leading by example.
So thank you so much, Waleuska, and we will leave people with this wonderful quote that you have ended the session with, and we'll come back again very soon and talk about a lot more things. If you all feel that there's something that you all want us to talk about specifically, please write to Waleuska or me, and we would be really happy to see how to include that in our future sessions. So what do you think?
Yes, thank you so much. And yeah, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, WaleuscaLazo.com and The Abundant Life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
See you again. Yeah, bye-bye. Ciao. Take care.